what we're going to do today is tear apart a couple of, well, tear apart one TPMS sensor. I got these from my car, and I'm not sure which ones are good or bad, but 3 of them are supposed to be bad, but I imagine it was just a bad battery. So I'm going to go ahead now and tear into them. So here I'm just tearing into the TPMS sensor itself. I took the plastic back off, and it's full of this soft rubbery silicone stuff, and I just got to slowly work away at it. It looks kind of degraded. I mean, it kind of comes apart if you rub on it a little bit. So I'm just using the spudger knife here to kind of pull away at the layers. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. At this point you can kind of see the battery in there, and I think that's some kind of a transformer or something. I'm just continuing to work away at the silicone here. It comes up pretty easily with just a little bit of pressure. Doesn't require a lot of scraping. I hope I don't mess anything up on the board here. So there, I'm just kind of clearing away the silicone on the battery. Here I'm trying to pry out the circuit board, so I'm going to see if I can get up underneath it with the spudger, and I don't think that's going to work. I still can't get that circuit board out. It seems like it's in there pretty good, so I'm going to reach for some wire cutters here and see if I can clip away at the plastic housing a little bit. This seems to be working pretty good. I can break off pieces of that housing pretty easily. Oops, looks like I almost got my finger there. Ooh, there goes a big piece. Let's See if I can pry it out here. Oops, just the battery's coming loose there. Need to keep working at it with these pliers. That housing's pretty tough. Trying to get in behind it here. Still in there pretty good. Trying to get under it again with the spudger. See if I can break off some more of that plastic. That's still sticking in there pretty good. This thing's not giving up without a fight. And then all of a sudden it just peels right out. So I'm just kind of checking this out here. Looks like the battery's connected with a couple of thin pieces of metal. Just trying to clean up that battery a little bit so I can get some information off of it. See if I can scrape off some of that silicone and read what's up under there. After cleaning it off a little bit, you can see that it's a Panasonic button cell battery. It says it's 3 volts. I'm not sure if this battery's any good, so I'm trying to figure out how it's connected. I decided to try and clip the leads from the battery. That's the negative lead. I was going to try and pull the positive lead off the battery. It was spot welded on there. And then when I broke the spot weld loose, it actually punctured the battery and let some of the internal fluid out of it. You can see it on the workbench there. It's kind of messy stuff. When I went to clean it off, the acid or whatever kind of took up some of the paint or coloring that was on the mat. Here I'm going to zoom out and see if I can check the battery voltage with the meter. That rubber coating is kind of acting as an insulator. Looks like it's got 2.86 volts. So this one was probably the one that was still working. clean up some of that acid. That stuff's a mess. You see it's taking up some of the coloring from the mat I have. I'm going to throw that battery in the trash, get it out of here. Set the meter aside. I'm going to zoom in again. I'm going to apply 3 volts to this and see if I can get it to work. Just going to go ahead and clear some more of the silicone off of it first though. Stuff comes off pretty easily. Here I've got most of the silicone stuff off. It's kind of picking away at a little bit of it here. I think I've got enough of it off now. That little rail right there that I'm bending, that's the transmission antenna, I believe. So the long lead is positive and the short lead is negative. So initially I hooked my power supply up to it, but the current was so low that I didn't actually get any kind of a reading, a current reading on the power supply, so I couldn't tell whether or not the sensor was actually powering up. Because I believe it was in the milliamps. So at this point I decided to set up my fluke meter because it measures microamps and milliamps. So I decided to set up so I could see if the TPMS sensor was drawing current at all. After a little bit of tinkering, I found that it was drawing current, so that led me to believe that it was transmitting. The only way I could tell for sure if it was transmitting was to try and receive the signal. I have a USB stick, which is a software-defined radio. It's a receiver, and it can receive all sorts of frequencies from television, radio, ham radio, any of that stuff. And so the next step was to set that up with the laptop and see if I could actually receive some of these TPMS signals. That's what I'm going to do in the next step. So here what we're doing is we're shorting out the battery terminals so that all the power gets shorted out of the TPMS. And then we're going to apply power to the TPMS, and that triggers a send. And you'll hear it show up on the screen or on the monitor here. Looks like it sends 5. Looks like it sends its code 5 times. Here you can see the 5 pulses from the TPMS sensor whenever it is powered on. And then below here you can see a blow up of one of those pulses. You can actually see what looks like bits of data coming out of it. My recording isn't very good. I think I was recording from the microphone instead of the actual sound card in the laptop, so I don't think my signal is that good, but you can still kind of make out some of the bits in there from the transmission when the TPMS is powered on. This is one of the 5 TPMS pulses from up here.